will work with any other political party because we are going for outright majority. And we know very well that that majority over the years has not been a given. We work for it, given the challenges that we face all the time. So this is not new. We are the incumbent. We are in charge. We run the country. Everybody, when they open their mouth, they do the easiest and the lazy job of complaining and attacking the incumbent. That's why people are forming political parties like mushrooms, because they've got hope that if they criticize the ANC about the defects in terms of governance, they will make it at least one seat in parliament, at least 2 seats, family, husband and wife, and all of that. So they are hoping for that. With what we see, the shenanigans of Magashule, it's not new. Magashule has long worked inside the ANC for the proliferation of political parties. He formed them. ATM was formed by him. And that decision was taken somewhere in a hotel in Durban. And then that is why he formed a party called ACT. When they formed ATM, the first option was ACT. And then they resorted to the name ATM later. That's why the colors are similar. It's one and the same thing. With some priest from Eastern Cape, when he saw people coming to pray, he thought about a political party. And then he called it ATM. He was assisted by Magashule. And then they formed a lot of political parties that were going to eat from the ANC. That was the objective, with the aim of ensuring that that will lead to the removal of Cyril Ramaphosa as the president. So that's why Ace, when he came into office, the first thing he said to ANC members, give me 5 years. And where is that 5 years now? He's out and he has formed a party. So that's why Fikile answered him and said, uzabe kuphi yena kule 5 years? Ayinikeza abantu njengonobhala who was elected by everybody at conference, and then he gives people ultimatums. So there is nothing new there. They are not going to offer anything. They will do the laziest job of critiquing the ANC without giving an alternative. The moonshoot arrangement is a conglomeration and the coming together of old chaps who used to work together in the old order. We liberated them. But they now call them moonshoot with a view to unseat the African National Congress. But if you go to the content of the moonshoot, you will realize that that thing is anti-worker. It's anti all the progressive policies that we've got. That's what it is. I mean, you can look at them where they govern, how they treat workers. You know the challenges that face the taxi industry in our country. But how they are treated in the Western Cape, don't think is the same as in Johannesburg and other provinces. That because taxi industry operates in the fringes of the informal economy, and then you think that, no, it is justified what the DA is doing to them in the Western Cape. There, your car is impounded just for smoking alone inside the car. A policeman come and impound the car. And then they charge them 10,000 to go and get your car back. When you charge a taxi person, they say those are bylaws, 10,000 to go and take the car. You have taken basically the income of the whole week from that particular person. So laws must be enforced, but it's a racist arrangement that seeks to push the taxi industry out in a particular way without a formal agreement on what needs to happen to transform the taxi industry and professionalize it, which is what we are leading as government. So that's what they do where they govern. And this is what they will do if they were to be given power in this particular country. So that is the arrangement that you've got in this country, that people are mobilizing and so on and so on. We are going to work, and we appreciate that NUM over the years have supported the ANC in terms of personnel and resources on the ground, in terms of mobilization. And we will much appreciate that continued working together, because NUM have understood that as much as we've got challenges from time to time, but the interest of the workers are safeguarded through the tripartite alliance led by the African National Congress. And nobody else can guarantee that to the workers. And it is against that particular background that we are strengthening the tripartite alliance and ourselves, including addressing a whole range of issues that we are facing. Comrades, the load shedding issue, the insecurity of electricity supply, continues to be one of the greatest impediments to the economic recovery. The post-1994 delivery to millions who had no access to electricity put a lot of pressure to an infrastructure that was historically geared to a minority of South Africans. If you understand me correctly, comrades, I want to repeat, the insecurity of electricity supply continues to be one of the greatest impediments to our economic recovery. The post-1994 delivery to millions who had no access to electricity put a lot of pressure to an infrastructure that was historically geared to a minority of South Africans. Over time, this was compounded by poor policy decisions in the past, together with inadequate maintenance, mismanagement, and widespread corruption, which have left our electricity system in a critical state. We are undertaking several far-reaching measures to completely transform the country's energy sector. Apart from the immediate steps to stop state capture at Eskom and rebuild the utility, the government has made significant policy changes to enable a more competitive, reliable, cost-effective, and sustainable electricity industry. The weekly updates by the Minister of Electricity have managed to calm the flaring tempers as people begin to appreciate the huge work that needs to be done to bring Eskom back on track. We have said that load shedding should have been dealt with by the end of this year, and we remain committed to that. Just energy transition, as a matter of principle, the pace and the form of our just energy transition must be informed by our national interest, our developmental needs, and availability of resources. South Africa is well positioned to seize the opportunities of a global transition away from fossil fuels and become a leading player across the value chain of the new emerging industries. However, in the meantime, comrades, we are fully conscious that our base load or uninterrupted supply of electricity is technologically and institutionally reliant on coal. Our displacement of coal must be informed by new base load sources, whilst we continue also to support the implementation of renewable energy solutions, both for household usage as well as commercially. We have noted that some countries seek to enforce energy solutions that they themselves cannot be reliant on for lack of baseload capacity, whilst consuming our coal exports. We must remain vigilant in defending our national interest and our economy at all material times. However, comrades, I must hasten to say that we remain committed to combating climate change through various proven technological solutions such as carbon capture, usage, and storage. But we must note, we must not be guinea pigs to experiment unproven solutions to the detriment of our economy. Workers and communities built around mining and coal power stations, and this must be protected. Therefore, the emergence of independent power producers should not be treated as privatization of the sector, but as complementing what we already have and to introduce a renewable technology that will become useful as we make technological advances, among others, on storage technologies in the coming years. We must not be found lagging in this regard. However, baseload generation, transmission, and distribution will remain in the hands of the state. We don't subscribe to the notion that 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐬, the Minister of Minerals and Energy, is a fossil fuel dinosaur. On Eskom reconfiguration, comrades, as the ANC, we have engaged Minister Gordhan on the process to reconfigure Eskom. We now we know that much has been said and suggested about the apparent privatization of Eskom. The reconfiguration of Eskom into the 3 units of generation, transmission, and distribution is aimed at efficacy and not privatization. For instance, the transmission utility will be 100% owned by the state and will comply to the Labor Regulations Act. The PFMA and as a public company also to the Companies Act. The main reason for the reconfiguration is to enable an independent wheeler of electricity that is not linked to any power generation utility, to enable fairness as all other state and private entities can wheel their power on equal market terms through the new transmission utility. We therefore seek to debunk the notion that Eskom will be privatized. The state will continue to strengthen Eskom generation to guarantee baseload production, which simply means uninterrupted supply of a given amount of power. Our national energy security premised on Eskom generation, the expansion of the grid to enable all producers to wield their power as well as effective distribution. Among the issues we must celebrate, comrades, is the fact that we have increased electricity connectivity to nearly 90% since the dawn of democracy. On illegal connections and illegal mining, but we must be united in condemning sabotage at all levels in this regard, from generation to transmission and distribution, which has worsened load shedding challenges, illegal connections. Those who have sabotaged Eskom generation must face the full might of the law. Similarly, those who steal cables and vandalize transformers effectively sabotage the economy and must likewise face the full might of the law. We have communicated to relevant departments in government that we must stop bemoaning illegal mining and act decisively as the state. We will continue to support transformation in the mining sector, particularly small-scale miners. This must never be confused with acts of illegality that must face the full might of the law.